Hey guys, Kyle here with Creative Cosplays, and today we're here with Jake, aka Foggy Night 14. What's going on? And we're here to interview Cindy, aka Imposter Cosplay, who was actually the recent cover of our mid-season number 10
Look at
issue of
that.
Cosplays Magazine. What's going on, guys?
What's
Hello,
up?
hello.
Um, if you can, Jake, I just want to give everybody a little background about yourself, and then we'll go on to Cindy. All right?
Sounds good. Yeah. Cosplayer out of Virginia. I do cosplay, like a little modeling, acting. Probably know me for Batman. I've done Superman, Mandalorian, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I've been in the cover twice. So
Yes, sir. Here we go. He was
boom.
actually the cover of our latest seasonal issue of
There we
fall.
go.
Yes, sir. So we got two cover cosplayers here today. Cindy, how about you, sir? How'd you get started with cosplay? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm just a huge nerd. I've cosplayed for years, and it started with like going to conventions and then being at one and going, okay, well, I really want to dress up for the next one and want to make sure I can come fully prepared, and that's kind of how that started. But I cosplay everything. DC is where my heart lies, but I've done some Marvel. I do random things, just things that like really I love. Ghostbusters is like tomorrow for
Oh yeah.
work, so I got my pack and all that stuff, and I appreciate the cover.
Deserved.
Being on the cover is such a big deal for me, and I really appreciate being like among so many great and talented cosplayers and artists, and it's just crazy how it brings so many people together and so many people from all over. And I'm actually based in Florida, so most of my conventions are down here. But yeah, I've met Jake once and at MegaCon this past year, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, so I hope to travel to more conventions too in the future, and then just get around.
Cool. Well, happy Halloween. It's cool that you're suiting
Yeah.
up for that.
Yeah.
Um, I want to know more about your Cyclops cosplay that you have for the cover. Tell us how that became a thing and
Oh man.
how you
So
created it.
going way back, I work closely with Unmasked Studio, Will over there, and him and I actually go way back to the beginning where he was just making stuff on like t-shirts. He was doing patterning with what seemed like to be a 3D pen, and I had just started printing, and we had actually met on one of the, I think, Facebook pages, and we decided to trade. And it was kind of odd because we were both trusting that the other person was actually sending the item. So we were like, hey, let's trade, like no money back and forth. I'm just gonna ship this out to you, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And ever since then I've been working closely with him, and he's such a talented guy, and he's so creative, and his designs are so absolutely spectacular, and his suits are like some of the best out there, I think. And him and I have been able to work closely together. So he's got to be sick of me at this point because I'm always sending him ideas, like stuff that'll work and stuff I want to do. And it's funny because the Cyclops one actually started back in last December being a Talon cosplay for Court of the Owls. So we were going to do a whole muscle suit Court of the Owls, and we were going through, and then I did so much posting and cosplay for the Batman that I was like, I just need a break from DC. And I think I was telling Jake too I think it was weeks, months ago. I don't know when I first started. I'm like, I just need a break from DC. And Jake's the one who kind of pushed me there. He's like, yeah, man. I mean, he's like, do it, do Marvel, do other
Yeah.
stuff. Like just get out there and start doing more than DC. And then I had seen some artwork by Raf Grasati, I think it's
Yeah.
pronounced.
Yeah.
And he's actually does the 3D modeling and sculpting
He's
for like
sick.
God of War. Like
Yep.
the guy is insane. So he
Hmm.
had some art of just like the
Excellent.
bust of like the X-Men, and one of them was like Cyclops. And I had some people actually like shoot me messages like, hey, this kind of looks like you.
Yeah.
Like you should maybe do a Cyclops. And that's when I reached back out to Will, and we spent a long time on the phone talking about design and what we wanted to look like, because I didn't want it just to be blue. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't pull off blue and the plastic yellowy look. I just
Yeah,
That's
that
always
looks
what steered me
awesome.
away from Cyclops. It just looked too cartoony.
Hmm.
So we redesigned, and Will finally went, look, by the sounds of it, I got what you need. And he sent me the design he was making for his version of the MCU Fantastic Four Reed Richards suit.
Yeah.
So it's got the black shoulders, black on the forearms, on the thighs, and kind of on the waist, and then the blue goes out. And he said, he's like, "Hey man, I could just make you this like Fantastic Four suit." And I'm like, without the emblem, you really wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
But I made them. I printed them the emblem. I do a bunch of 3D printing. I make armored pieces, props. Turbo Man, I fully designed and had do 3D, do the modeling for that, and I did the whole thing head to toe.
Mm.
I'm really proud of the Turbo Man I made, but I do like some emblems and emblem work for Will. So I sent that to him, and he said, "Hey, I'll just wait. I'll wait to showcase it as a Fantastic Four suit. Let it become a Cyclops suit first." So if you go through, you'd see he actually posted recently, and it was he's like, "Hey, this is what Imposter used, and it's actually meant to be like a Fantastic Four suit," because I wanted like color variation, and even the blue. You can tell in the legs, I wanted like a darker blue on the legs and some of the back of the
Oh yeah.
arms
Yeah,
instead
I
of
see it.
what,
Yeah.
just on the front. So designed that. Then I made the belt, and Luden Cosplay gave me the files. I sent him a bunch of sculptures that I really liked the belt on, and asked him to make it. And I did the visor. It's got like actually interchangeable visors, so I can see through it for a convention. But then for photo shoots and videos, I can make it light up and do LED. But then I can't
Oh,
see
cool.
anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, just so many moving parts, and really working closely with people. And it's like everybody was like involved, from Jake going, "Hey, do Marvel," to Unmasked with helping me with the design, and going through and just like giving me his full letting me pick his brain fully. And then Luden also always makes my files for me. So it was just like, it takes a village. And then obviously I always wanted to work with Ryan Sims. I never worked with him personally. I've sent him some pictures to edit, and
Yeah, he's cool.
he's done a great job with those. But I was like, this is the one. This is the one that's got to be a Ryan Sims photo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It was just, it came out so perfectly, and the most important thing to me was all the gold had to match. So I needed the
Yeah.
visor, the gloves, the belt, the
Yeah.
boots, and I made sure it matched. So, and even in the raw photos and everything, you can see that that gold is consistent all the way through. So I
Yeah,
really appreciate the feedback. It's gotten a lot of love, and
Sure.
it's one of my favorites, and it's cool because I did it to step outside the box and do it a little differently, you know?
Yeah, man, the hard work paid off. Because it's like a textured fabric too, right? It's not all
Yeah.
printed.
He's got resources that he uses, and he prints all sorts of screen printed fabric. He works a lot on the like the Dawn of Justice stuff that he recently did some Man of Steel stuff. But yeah, he can almost put any texture on the suit.
And then he did the muscle suit and everything too underneath it.
He does the muscle suit. I 3D printed the molds for it. So I molded the entire muscle suit. So every time he used it, he used a foam that I 3D printed it, and he used that as like his layout for the muscle
Gotcha.
suits.
Cool. Awesome. How about you, Jake? You got any questions?
Oh man. Well, I'm glad I could influence. The peer pressure always works. That's always how it starts with me, is just like somebody being like, "Hey, this kind of looks like you." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"You know
Yeah.
what? Let's do that."
Let's try.
Well, those are the easiest cosplays, are the ones that looks like you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do as much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember talking to him about that, and again, it turned out amazing. Will's incredible, and to me, I do the same thing with a lot of mine. I mean, I've done Mandalorian, obviously, and I've done like Ben Affleck's Batman, but I always like doing my version or my spin on a suit, even if it's small. Like even the Superman suit that you have, it's Henry's emblem, but like I put the red trunks on it because I was like, oh, let's mix basically my version of what would the modern suit look like with in like the classic suit, like hybrid, like mix it up. So exactly the same, put your own twist on it. And I love that he did that. I always like when people do a unique take on a character.
Yeah, I love that suit too. That you have the red trunks. It's like, because it wasn't trunks, and it's like they almost, if the production team focused on it, they
Yeah.
could have made them work in a movie.
Yeah.
Like that suit makes it go, okay, this could have been done and not been like he's wearing a Speedo underwear on the outside
exactly.
of the suit. So, yeah.
It's just red. It's just the red fabric of the same as the muscle suit, and just blended in. And then same with my Batman suit. It's I guess conventionally a comic suit, but it's like how I went into it like, how would I design a bat suit if it was me? I like the simplicity of the comic suit with a little bit of the Arkham logo, but like my own custom belt, and it's got the Dawn of Justice gauntlets. It's got, you know, Dawn of Justice belt, but then I got like the more animated style cowl and
Mhm.
thing. I love that. So yeah,
Yeah, you
fantastic.
gotta make it. You gotta make them your own.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
And then it's cool to see other cosplayers when they like design something that's similar, kind of based off of your. It's always like very like flattering and just kind of cool to see other people like, oh, I kind of want to do that, and then like put their little twist on it. It's
Oh,
cool.
I always do that, man. That's what had me do the Nightmare Robin. So I have a Nightmare Robin version, and I actually did it when the movie came out like years ago.
Yeah,
And that was actually the first set that I had those gauntlets, and I traded those for something Will had because I wanted to do a Nightmare Batman,
yeah,
but I never got around to doing it. And then yeah, like years went by. Then the Nightmare stuff started being popular again, and like Zack Snyder's Justice League coming out, and I saw Foggy's, and I was like, I need to upgrade it. So I reached out to Will. I'm like, I just need to upgrade it and just do more shots. And um, it does it, man. I see other cosplayers. That's what I see. It's like, what can I create based
yeah,
off of this? What's really inspirational? And it's even inspired my next one, you know? So
yeah.
I don't know. It's just how it works, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had more
Version.
people in a cool way reach out to want to do like a nightmare version of whatever. You know, I've had like nightmare arrows, and obviously the nightmare Robin was really cool because it was so much teased in the BVS of like, oh, he's dead. Like, what would that be like? You know, if he came in the
Wasn't,
nightmare verse. So that was really fun to do. I love that.
yeah, that was cool.
So both of you guys are very familiar with the Superman, the Batman cosplays, and the muscle suits that go into those, and how
Yeah,
uncomfortable they can be. Sunday,
yeah.
do you have any tips on keeping cool in those suits?
It's like
Or
I'm wearing a second skin, man. I'm in
Mhm.
Florida, and Jake and I have talked about it. He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Because I've worn so much armored stuff, you know, and
yeah,
I've done EVA foam. Like, even if you go back on my page, I did a full, like, I call it the Fat Boy mech suit, which was just this huge oversized foam suit that I made that I could hardly walk in.
yeah,
You're in Florida, you're walking in a convention, you got
uh,
foam. The foam starts warping and
Yeah,
distorting. And that
yeah.
that was like my first push towards 3D printing.
Uh-huh.
I thought I needed something more solid, but I don't know, man. Just the way Will makes my suits, I love wearing them. I wear it all the time. When I went to Dragon Con, I wore it for like 9 hours straight. And it was different because when I wear his bat suits, I'm wearing a cowl. And
the cow's
after
the
wearing
worst part.
Cyclops, I realized it's the cowl that makes me hot.
Yeah,
The
Oh
cowl
yeah.
and the cape.
Well,
It's
yeah,
not the suit.
yeah.
I don't know if Jake would agree, but
It's
yeah,
no same. When I do Superman, fine, totally fine. Like
yeah, you're just
don't get me wrong,
trapping all that heat in there.
you sweat, but like it's bearable because you can breathe out of your head. That
Yeah,
cow just everything
yeah,
in. And like at when we did Cosplay World Richmond, like I kept taking my cowl off because I knew I have no chance of making it the whole day if I don't. Like I don't care if I like I'm sorry, the identity is coming out.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
Bruce Wayne.
can't you can't do it.
Yeah, I agree, man. And you know, I've done, like I said, so many armored suits, and I did a version of the Batman suit, the Robert Pattinson one. I went through GC5FX, and he's amazing. He's super talented, but those were all like rubber latex pieces, so I had to put them together. I had to mount them, and then any Batman cosplayer watching this video, or anybody who's tried to do the Batman cosplay, knows the cowl and the neck piece is an absolute nightmare. Like, oh, I wore it to a convention once, and I had to get rid of all the pieces. I'm going back to Will. I'm like, give me something simple, like Jake said. I'm gonna do a like a comic book style, simple Dark Knight Returns, like kind of bulkier and kind of more loose fitting. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a little more loose fitting and look like just very like, oh yeah, that's Batman. And I want that because I want to wear it to conventions, you
yeah,
know, because a lot of my time with everything that happened with the pandemic, it made me switch gears for my cosplays. So a lot of my cosplays for a long time came dependent on photo shoots. They weren't convention
yeah,
cosplays. And after the pandemic happened, is like when things changed with me, where I was like, all right, there's going to be some suits for conventions and some suits I'm doing shoots for, like characters I love. And that's when I started developing more of my editing skills, editing my photos. And to this day, I'm just like trying to better that and become better at lighting my shots and what they look like. And all the shots that you see with Jake and I, Batman and Robin, were not in the same room. We didn't even meet for any
Oh,
shot.
really? Wow.
No,
no,
all those are composites I made and put together with backgrounds and lighting. And I tried to match some of the lighting he sent me. And there was one really cool black and white one that we did. Well, black and white, but like
yeah,
Snyderverse, you know, darker. And that one got a lot of good feedback, and I was really happy with that photo. It looked like the most
that was
cohesive
sick.
piece I've made so far.
Well, now we're going into wintertime, so this is the best time to suit up
it's
in those
great.
suits.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's funny is people, I did a shoot and it was like, I don't know, near about 40, and I was outside, and everyone else was like shaking. I was still sweating. Like, people don't get it. Like, anybody who's not a Batman cosplayer, when they like complain about being hot, I'm like, don't even talk to me right now. Like, you don't know anything, Jon Snow. Like,
Yeah.
nothing.
You got nowhere to breathe. Your mouth is like, it sounds
No.
stupid, but your mouth and your like nostrils not enough. Like,
Yeah.
your
No.
hands are trapped, your feet are trapped, and then all in all, you're wearing the suit, and then you put a belt on it, and I don't know why, but that just adds like that layer of heat around the waist.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh man.
Well, like hall mat was the worst because I did that was the only time, and same I learned like, oh, this is because I was always like, what's a con suit compared to like a photo shoot? And then I wore Nightmare Batman the hall mat, which I don't know if you went this past year.
I didn't.
Photos you had to go outside. So
Yeah.
that was like my soul left my body, but like all
Florida
that
doesn't get
Batman,
that
and then
cool
they're
around
like,
that
hey,
time.
he's suffering enough. Let's give him a trench coat. Like, let's do
Yep.
that. And I left hall mat with Superman Fit. They looked at him. I was like, I'm ordering a Spider-Man suit the day I get home. And I did. I was like, because I'm not doing that ever again. I was literally there was a point in time I was literally in the food, I guess in the hotel, like food court, just laying down on the tile floor with like my little piece of jaw like touching the cold tile, like, and then just having people dump water down my, it was bad. I was
Yeah,
like,
man. You're drinking a lot of water, but never using the bathroom.
Right.
Like, you don't have to. Yeah, man. People don't think, but Florida doesn't get really cold.
No.
Well, it gets nicer in the wintertime, that's for sure.
Yeah, it gets doable.
Yeah, right. It's not, you don't get that humidity at least.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I ordered a Spider-Man suit, and I think Jake was one of the people I told about it. And he was like, "Dude, it's like night and day, isn't it?"
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can move, I can breathe, I can see,
Yeah.
I can hear.
Oh, so ridiculously different, man. But you know,
Yeah,
each
that's the other
cosplay
thing
has
with
its like
Batman
pros and
too.
Yeah.
You can't see with the white lenses, and I can't hear anything, so I'm deaf, blind, dying, like, so not cool.
and you know, forbid that you get hungry. Then what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're done.
You're
Yeah.
done.
What is your guys' favorite cosplay? What do you guys like feel the coolest wearing when you're out? Like out of all
Okay,
the
so
ones
I'm
you've
be
done so
so
far.
contradictive now. Batman by far, despite
Yeah.
everything I just said.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's a sick cosplay, but is it worth it when you?
It's just a mood when you put that thing
Yeah.
on, and like how people react to it is just, I mean, I've done like Mando's cool, Superman's cool, but it doesn't get the same as Batman. Like, people are just like, and you know, he's such a beloved character too, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just different. You feel cool. I mean, you don't feel cool temperature wise, but you feel cool like walking around, and like there's been times you're walking, you just they like people just kind of like part like the
Yeah.
Red Sea, and it's just like it's badass. So yeah, definitely Batman, despite everything I just said prior to this.
Yeah, Batman will be up there for me. He was up there for a long time. Turbo Man, not so much. Like, I love the suit and it resonates, and you'll always get like that one person who's like, put that cookie down. Movie. But you know, I'm near St. Augustine, so I went to the Nights of Lights where they decorate the whole city in lights, and I did a shoot out there with Zex and Knight, and he's a local photographer. He's really amazing, really talented, and we went out there and we got a lot of feedback, but it's because I'm one dude dressed up not at a convention. So I was getting Iron Man, I was getting Flash, I got hardly any Turbo Man because it's such a like, you know. But I love that suit because just the work that I put into it, you know. And that was like one of those things I wanted to prove myself. I'm like, can I make a full suit head to toe by myself? And once I could, I'm like, good. I don't need to do an Iron Man suit anymore. I don't need to do people ask for commission. Nope, I'm not doing it because it took so long. You know, it took a lot of work, but it was something I needed to do for me. And once I like check that off, move on. I want to do more of the fun stuff. So I like commission pieces and make like props and pieces like that. But if I had to pick one one most comfortable, best feedback is the Cyclops suit. Like I got so much love at
Oh
Dragon.
yeah, but
I got so much feedback, and it was so easy to wear and comfortable, and just it fits so well, you know, like it just, and not just on my body, but it suited me well. It felt like it was a cosplay I felt like I should have done, but didn't know I needed to do till I did it. I'm like, wow, this is like really great, and really just got me back into X-Men. You know, like I said, I was more of a DC fan, so but the best feedback at cons has been Cyclops, yeah.
all right. And what was what both of your first cosplays? What were the ones that got you going into it? Got you started?
My first one
And this
was
doesn't include Halloween costumes.
my
Mm.
first one was the first Superman suit from the first cover with Liz. That was, I
Okay.
think when I was on that cover, I think
Oh yeah.
I'd only been cosplaying about 2 months at that point. So that photo shoot was the very first suit day I've ever suited up in anything. So
Oh
it was
wow.
the New 52 Superman, and then right after that, the Ben Affleck Batman.
Gotcha.
That was the first. I mean, I've been doing it. I think I'm about to cross 2 years of cosplaying.
Oh
So
really? That's it?
yeah, I'm still pretty new to it.
What? I thought you've been doing it way longer than that.
Yeah, no, he's telling me what to cosplay, and I'm giving him tips on conventions he should go to. He's
Yeah,
like,
I've been
I'm going to
like
my first one.
big conventions. I've only been to like two.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always interesting. That's a cool. That's a, you know, different approaches to it. I've been dressing up my whole life. You know, I dressed up, and I made home movies. You know, and I acted too. And I was at UCF in the film. My buddies were in the film program. They're always like, you should act. You should act. So they always put me in their movies. And
Mm.
one of my buddies' movie. He's in LA now, and he works on like a bunch of horror films that are coming out there. And he's working his tail off, but he's out there doing that. And he had made a movie called Superman's, and it was based like on the superhero like love story type thing, and that got accepted into San Diego Comic-Con.
Nice.
So we actually got to go, like paid for. We went to San Diego Comic-Con back in 2016 and just did that for a weekend, and that was really cool. That was fun. But so I was always kind of dressing up even when it wasn't Halloween. Halloween was just like my highlight time, you
Right.
know. But the first one I ever did, have you guys ever watched Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, of course. I got a whole case of Dragon Ball behind me.
All right, so my first one was Vegito,
Oh
and
yeah, I've done that.
that was before cosplay was popular. That was like in 2000, like, oh God, 4.
Yeah.
So I was a youngin, and I had a Vegito cosplay. Here's the problem. First of all, it's really hard to get Dragon Ball Z cosplays to look good. Like now, people have all these skills
Ugh.
and
3D
foam,
printing, all that stuff.
all that stuff's there. That wasn't around back then. So you just have people who knew how to sew.
Yeah.
I really loved Vegito. I scoured the internet for the earrings. Somebody recreated the earrings, and then
Yeah.
I wore it, and I was so excited. It was my first convention, and then I was being laughed at because they're like, "Oh, look, it's Dragon Ball Scrubs, Dragon Ball Scrubs," because Vegito's colors aren't orange and secondary blue. His primary is blue.
Right.
So it looked like I was wearing scrubs because it was like
Yeah.
blue head to toe with a little bit of orange, you know? So that was my first like experience at a con with that. But you know, you live and you learn, and you know, I plan on doing another Dragon Ball Z cosplay, but it was yeah, Vegito, man, and I was like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I think I've done him before too. I have the wig upstairs and everything.
I wish I had the wig, dude. I just took what
Did you?
hair I had and just went like this. Like if we had more time, I would find a picture. I think it recently just popped up like on my Facebook memories. Like you did this a million years ago. I'm like, that's not being posted on Instagram.
Well, that's something you're definitely going to have to redo.
Yeah, that's an upgrade. Yeah. And then too, you know, it's like a lot of people like then do recognize. They point out like, oh, that's Dragon Ball Z. That's Vegito. You know, so that was kind of cool. But you know, the ones that hurt sometimes hurt more.
Yeah. What events you guys have coming up? You guys attending any cons for the rest of the year or what?
Oh man, I don't have a lot con wise until next year. I'm doing I think WonderCon next year, C2E2 next year, KatsuCon, and then pretty much all the rest of are just like local, like little local appearances and stuff. Yeah, I think Katsu, I think calendar wise would be the next one I'll be at. I was gonna go to Hallmat this year, but I'm my family and I are going on vacation that exact same weekend, so kind of ruined that. So PAX
Family.
will be my next one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
KatsuCon is a good one. That's another one we want to try and hit up again next year. I
Yeah.
think we missed. I think we missed out on the past two of them because of COVID. But
Yeah, I've never been because of COVID, and then so this would be it's like literally where I live, and I still have never been to it.
That's crazy.
well, if you've only started in the past 2 years, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I'm gonna try to go to Hallmat in a couple weeks here to debut like my new cosplay, and Hallmat's an hour and a half for me, man, and I've never been.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, what is this Hallmat that everyone's talking about? But it's
Fun.
usually, big ones, MegaCon. Sometimes Tampa Bay got big. I've been to that a few times. I usually go to 2 or 3 a year, and I usually only end up making about 3 or 4 cosplays a year, which I don't know if that's a lot or not. I don't. I
Well,
try
it
not
depends
to
on how
compare
big they
myself
are.
'cause everybody's like schedule is different. So some people can crank them out quicker. Others, spend 1 year making one. So I don't really know, but that's about my average is 3 to 4. And then Jake, I have a few select people that I like talk to about my stuff, friends I've made. And
Yeah,
Jake knows like I've got 40 other ones just on the back burner.
yeah.
And most of them are just honestly like just pulling the trigger to get it done. But he's like, hey, how's this one coming? I'm like, oh well, this one's been moved on back burner. Now I'm doing this one. And he
What
goes, okay,
happened
how's
was,
that one coming? And then I'll send him a picture. He goes, oh, okay, there we go. Like,
yeah,
so it's just, yeah, I tried to do more shots when I first started cosplaying and going to conventions. I took no photos. So uh, that's what really got me into Instagram, actually, because I'm not really big a social media person. I wasn't before. And it kind of made me sad because I went to MegaCon one year and I found a photographer who had me as the new 52 Joker. And he had this shot, and his camera was like, it was just a good shot of me walking down the hall, and I was pointing at him, looking under my eye, and I saw it pop up on like one of the MegaCon pages. And I'm like, I don't have any like pictures that I took. So I got really disappointed, and I figured Instagram was a good, like, gave me a reason to take these pictures and share them.
yeah,
And that kind of gave me that like artistic push where it was like, all right, how else can I make these pictures more than just a convention photo and stuff?
yeah,
Because I try to do a little bit of both convention photos, edited photos, real photos. Like I tried to mix it all together because I like all of it.
yeah,
So it was really crazy to me that I spent so many years. There's cosplays of me like 2 other bat suits that I hardly have any pictures of. Me as Wolverine made out of pure EVA foam. Vegito, like I said, there were so many Joker, like version 1, version 2, and just things that like will never see the light of day because they just disappeared. MySpace or something. I don't know. But it's interesting, it's cool to meet someone like Jake because there's just it's so different from our experience that led us to like, all
yeah,
right, we became friends and like we're
yeah,
doing the same thing. But he just started and he's just going to conventions, and I've been doing it so long, and it's like but we're on the same page.
yeah.
We're both doing something we really love doing. We're doing it with our friends. We're doing it with family. I involve my kid any chance I can, and like it's just fun. It's fun to do it and meet all these people, and it's a good time.
Yeah, it's cool, like, for like Sandy, especially like positive people that, it's not like oh, you're doing Batman, like, no, it's like, no, that's sick, like, try this one, like, dude,
Yeah.
it's more of a hype thing. So it's really cool to find people that are, positive and supportive, and yet you find ways to collab, and oh, like maybe you try this person, and like, oh, this is your main, maybe I'll try this person, to kind of,
Yeah.
it's really cool. And it's funny how, you know like you said, we've met once. It's funny. I think the one time we met, I was actually the day after I had wore a crazy costume. So I was like just casually wearing Rick O'Connell. I wasn't even like in anything crazy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, damn it, he didn't even get to see me in any of my good stuff. But yeah, no, it's really cool.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. It's really fun, like I said, to collaborate, and definitely like I steal, like I get inspired by people. I steal their stuff all the time. Like I wanna soak it in, and like it ignites me, especially artists. I've been doing a lot of like artist stuff, and Dustin Macy does a bunch of like Batman and Michael Myers stuff, and Jake had done one shot where he had like a half Michael Myers and half Batman face. I was like, oh my God, like that's so cool. I need to do like some Michael Myers stuff. Like I need to like get it out there. So I sent Jake some stuff and
Yeah.
that I worked with the Shape cosplayer on. And I don't know, it's just like I take that inspiration. And I know Jake and I have a bunch of collaborations like lined up and some stuff very soon that I'm like really excited to get to work on. And I'm like sending them daily, like we should do this, we should do this.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the best parts about the community. I mean, it's very inviting and welcoming.
Yeah.
Gives you a chance to collaborate with all kinds of talented people all across the spectrum. From like, I noticed you had that music intro put together by somebody, which is
Yeah,
fantastic. And
IG hates Chazzy. The dude is phenomenal. He's a
So cool.
huge supporter of the cosplay community. He's a genuinely great dude. He's extremely talented. I urge anybody. I know Jake's. I think maybe reach out to him for a theme. Get
yeah,
a
we
theme.
did too.
It was yeah, because I mean, not saying it's cheap, but from what I got for it, like I got a minute and a half that I'm just using on like all reels now, and
Yeah.
anything like I want with Cyclops, I can just take a clip from 15 seconds of his
Yeah.
1.5 minute orchestrated thing is like really amazing. So it's like worth it to have that aspect that, and then other people are like, oh, you know who made that, you know, and they want to know about Chazzy, and he does a side project podcast. That's why I'm wearing the cosplay
Nice.
of the week shirt, and
Yeah.
yeah, man, shout out to him. He's been super supportive, and I've been on his show a few times, and it just goes off the rails, man. When we talk and we lose time, and I know he's planning on getting me and Jake on there, and that's just I'm like,
Yeah, we'll have to team up and interview with him too. Because
Yeah.
I reached out to him to see if he could possibly work on an intro theme music for either for this or for our characters that we have.
yeah,
Hopefully we
that's
can get
That
amazing. Like,
when that record button hits, his energy goes from like
yeah.
0 to a
right?
million.
I'm like, I'm drinking my energy drinks to keep up, and he's like, all right, yeah, we're gonna do this, and he kind of sets up, all right, cool, cool, cool. Camera comes on, you're like, whoa, like you feel it through
I
the
was like
booth.
trying not to laugh while he was doing the whole thing because I was just like not expecting it. I was like, oh
Well,
snap,
yeah,
okay.
man. Well, there's that episode where they were like him and Juicebox, his old co-host, like they were walking into a shot, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna walk into my shot. So they like came in and they kept talking and talking and talking because they didn't see me in the shot. And then they were like, hey, are you coming back? And I was like, oh, I was gonna come in like you guys did. Like we were waiting forever. Like
Oh my
time is
God.
ticking. So it's like it's always a good time, man. And like Creative Cosplay Magazine, being on here and being with Jake and just talking shop, man. It's always a good time, and I'm glad to do it. I'm glad to be involved, and like Jake said, spread that positive energy. You know, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Nobody owns a fake character, a made up character. You don't
Yeah.
own them. Like
Exactly.
see, we're all pretend. You know, we're all
Yeah.
playing dress up, and it's busy. You know, having because it's a hobby for me, so it's hard finding time for all of it consistently. So sometimes it'll be maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I get back in the shop, and the shop is my garage out there. But when I am in it, it's usually 3 or 4 days of just working in it continuously and trying to get things done. But I make gauntlets, I make pieces, I make anything that people have files for. And then if they want something custom made, I reach out to Luden Cosplay, who makes files. But I know he was really affected by all the stuff that happened overseas in Russia
Oh, okay.
from over there, and the Ukraine and stuff. And he's been hard to reach. So I hope he's doing all right. But he was my main guy, and he's really talented 3D artist. He knows how to make the files, so that's what I use for my printer. I use a CR10, and I had a second one, but that just didn't work out, so I had to get rid of it. So I use one printer. I make my pieces that I want, and then I make pieces for people that commission me to make any other pieces. You know.
Yeah, we had that issue with our kids. We were cosplaying a lot, and then after our first, it slowed down, and then after the second, we just didn't have any time anymore to do cosplay. So we kind of put all of our bags into this little thing, this little
Yeah,
project
I
to do the
can.
magazine to kind of still stay involved in the community.
Yeah, I can imagine, you know, it's really time consuming, and I try to involve my kid as much as I can, but most of the time he doesn't want to be taking
Yeah,
pictures, he wants to run around and play, you know. So I don't want to ever make it anything that he won't enjoy, you know. I want him
yeah,
to have fun with it, and you know, it'll come back around. They'll get older, and then
yeah.
you'll start cosplaying again, then you'll do another one, and then you'll be like, all right, I'm back in it, you know. And
Right.
it's all right to take those breaks. There's been times where just not even spending the time, but for me, it's more therapeutic. Like I said, I like doing the painting and making the pieces, and since I commission like the same pieces over and over again, I just get really good at them and try to crank those out, and then I just use, lucky enough, whatever funds I have to fund like the material, filament, primer, sandpaper, and then whatever's left gets funneled into cosplay for me.
Gotcha.
And there's not always a lot left because I don't overcharge. Like I'm not trying to get rich off of it. I want to give people an opportunity to.
Well, it's the same with us.
Right. Like, so I do it to help people, but it's also nice to have some of that income come back to me so I can create more.
Yeah.
But it's also like I have to do a lot of those to be
Mhm.
able to create more. So yeah, I definitely get it, but it all finds its way back around, and this is a really cool way for you guys to stay involved, and it's awesome to have you guys here and another pillar of cosplay support, because like Jake mentioned earlier, there is a lot of positivity, but there's also not. And you try to ignore the negative, and really just focus on people who are doing it to have a good time, and just
it's just been great, just getting to meet new people and
exactly, and stay in the game. Fun. I'm glad I met you guys, and you guys reached out and featured so many great cosplayers. And like I said, being featured on the cover is a huge deal for me. It's just cool. It's cool seeing it. You see it, you hold it, you're like, there I am.
Yeah.
There's all the hard work.
Yeah.
And inside is a plethora of just talent, and it's cool to see all these people. I went and followed all of them. So shout out to everybody who supports. Shout out to you guys, Creative Cosplay Magazine. Shout out to Foggy Night, Luden Cosplay, Unmasked Studio, the Shape Cosplayer, and Side Project, and Chazzy on Side Project Podcast. Shout out to all those people and many, many more. Everyone's been super supportive, and those people that I reach out to, I count on them, and I appreciate all their help and support. So shout out to everybody, and thank you to all, and Ryan Sims too, for making me look like a real superhero. I really appreciate it. So Batsterd for always giving me advice on lighting and edits and what to do. That the man can do no wrong. I always reach out, and he's so helpful and ready to step in and help me. So shout out to him too. So thank you so much for having me, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it was again a pleasure to meet you, and hopefully we can chat and hopefully even meet up at some point if we're ever down in the area.
That would be awesome, man. Let me know when you make it down to Florida.
All right, take care, man. Thank you again, everybody, so much for checking out this interview with Imposter Cosplay. We really appreciate it. Be sure to check out more of his work down below. Give him a follow on Instagram. Also, thank you again, Foggy Night 14. Check out some of his work also. Amazing cosplayers. We really appreciate you guys stopping by. If you guys are interested in checking out more interviews like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Give us a couple likes if you can. We really appreciate it. And if you guys want to be published in a future issue of our magazine and showcase some of your best cosplay work, be sure to visit the link, creativecosplays.com, and we will be sure to have you in a future issue of Creative Cosplays Magazine. Thank you again, everybody. See you next time.